Coach Stone Podcast.
I can't see where you coming from, but I know just what you running from. And what matters ain't the who's matters, but the ones who stop you falling from your level.
Coach Stone Podcast number 13. I want to thank everyone for listening to Coach Stone Podcast. I want to especially thank JC Hawks Radio, JC Hawks Sports Network, and also BJ for talking me into doing this a couple months ago in December. If anybody wants to visit my website for all my past blogs and past podcasts or my PE books or PE games, please go to www.coachstonefootball.com. You can listen to all my old podcasts and new podcasts. Will be on iTunes under JC Hawks Radio. Without further ado, my next guest is something that probably some people have heard of and some people have not. And I think it is a great opportunity for teams around the country and the world to do something right after flag football, but before tackle football. And if you're a tackle football team, this is a great way to do thud. So without further ado, Tim Healy from TackleBar. He's the president and CEO. Coach, are you on?
Yes, thanks so much, Coach Stone, for having me on.
Hey, thank you very much, and I appreciate this too. You know, my son, he tried the thing on, and he loves it. He's like, Dad, come on, come tackle my bar. And I'm like, son, calm down. I said, relax.
We've had that. We've been running around our house with our 7 kids, chasing each other with the tackle bars as well.
Yeah. Hey, you know, the one thing that you did teach me, though, when we first talked a while ago, before we set up a meeting, you said, Coach, remember when you use the tackle bar, have a helmet on. And I learned that the hard way with my son. I didn't have a helmet on the first time, so that did work. All right, Coach, before we start, let's do this. The game plan is very simple in my podcast, Coach Stone Football podcast. We're going to start with a pregame. We're going to talk about yourself. It's all you. First kickoff question. We'll ask you some questions about the tackle bar thing. Second, the first drive question will be really good. We won't tell the listeners what that is, so all the 5 listeners that we have will hear that. Maybe we'll get 6 or 7. And then we'll go in halftime, get some water, take those things off and relax a little, come back for the kick return, do the second drive, and then at the end of the game we'll have a 2-minute warning where you can do your words of wisdoms or your thoughts, you know, leave our audience, and then the game will be over unless we have overtime. So, Coach, you're ready to go, correct?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Pre-game. So tell us your bio and everything about you. It's all yours, Coach. Go ahead.
Yeah. Great. Again, thanks, Coach, for having me on. We're really excited to have the kind of product that I think can really have a huge impact on the youth football market. My background, I played football through college, played 4 years at St. John's University up in Collegeville, Minnesota. Great Division III program. I went on from there. I played for the New Orleans Saints. I tried out 1987, best 2 weeks of my life, but did not make it. And then I went on and I actually coached 3 years right out of college at a local high school. Their JV and varsity team. I worked with the offensive linemen, and then subsequently I got married and had 7 children, and I've coached real quick.
Sorry,
but
Coach, I got 5. I would love to one time. Just say, hey, table for 12, and they see 4 adults.
12.
And that'd be really, really bad then.
Yeah. Table for 14.
Well, yeah, and we have 7, so that's. And we'll just leave the 12 there, and we'll go eat somewhere else.
Yeah. So I've coached my boys. I coached for probably 10 or 12 years. I've coached them and had a lot of fun with the youth. And about 2 years ago, I sold my business back to Medtronic. I had a distributorship, sold it back, and then my youngest son, he said, Dad, can you coach our junior high team at school? And I said, yeah, sure, I'd love to. And so unbeknownst to me, the league had agreed to use these tackle bar things. I didn't know what they were. And so I coached my son with it. Our junior high program had 2 years prior had 22 kids involved, and I actually coached. Jack was there. Then I took a year off. They went down to 6 kids, and this is just right after the concussion movie. So they canceled the program. So then I came back, and that was a gap year. Then I came back, and with bringing on the tackle bar, they were able to get 12 kids to go out. And I would say 4 or 5 of those kids would not have gone out. Their parents would not have let them. And that's what we're seeing is we're seeing the parents and the moms really controlling whether their kids play football or not. And they're just not, the numbers aren't there. The kids are not signing up for football. And so I got involved because I was trying to drum up our participation numbers in our school. And then at the end of the season, I liked it so much. Our college coach has not had full contact in practice since 1971. So he was way before his time. Now we thudded, and I played on the line. We went very hard. We're sweating and getting bruised and bleeding. But we never tackled anyone to the ground. So I was familiar with it. I was familiar with the concept, and it just made sense. It was a very athletic season. The kids did a lot of really fun things, a lot of good passes. We ran a jet sweep spread offense, and it was just the kids just had a blast, and the parents loved it. So at the end of the season, I talked to Jeremy Ling, who's the inventor. We had a coaches meeting, and I said, "Where are you at, Jeremy? I'm really interested." And he said, and we basically worked something out, and I came on as the president and CEO, and that was about a year and 2 months ago. So that it's been very, very new, but it's just really exciting to have something that meets the needs that are out there, and we need to find an alternative to bring the kids back home, to bring them back to the fields, to play this great game of football, which gives and instills, and Coach, all the lessons that you learn in the game. It's just phenomenal. The hard work, discipline, perseverance, the teamwork, the camaraderie. It's just a beautiful game. It just gives so much. But the kids aren't playing. So we need to do something to get them back. And this is a great way to get them back. So last season, so the first season we increased our participation in the whole league 38%, which was phenomenal. And the next year we went up another 17%. So we're seeing growth, year-over-year growth, with this offering. And it's a great option to try to get more kids in your program, because I can tell you there's a lot of moms out there. You might not know who they are, but they're not letting their boys play. And I talk to moms all the time, and I talked to this one mom, 4 boys. They're good-sized kids. She's like, no, I'd never let them play football. And I just think it's misguided, because they're getting caught into the media hype and all the negative. But the truth of the matter is, there's nothing that can really be said that will calm them. We're not going to put the genie back in the bottle. I think it's forever. I think it's forever tainted, and that's why we need to come up with a different alternative. And it makes sense for kids under 12. You really don't need the full contact. They really should not be hitting their heads before 12. That's really the age where the brain fully develops its safety features. And it's just, if we can put it off, I think it's good for the kids.
So really quick, Coach, a couple things while you're talking. One, good hashtag is I was thinking while you're talking, hashtag bring them back to the field, right? Because that's the biggest thing. And then and for my audience that's listening, if you don't know what thud is right before live contact. So thud is when 2 players hit each other and then they pause, they stop. That how I consider thud. So
I would say that everyone stays on their feet.
Correct.
No one, you don't knock them down, you don't throw them down. You hit and stop, but it's still a collision.
And
still contact.
The other thing you said about kids playing sports. There's one thing I saw from this Believe. It's called Believe Perform, right? 15 skills athletes can transfer from the sports to the working world. Teamwork, communication, growth, emotion, tenacity, coping, resilience, leadership, learning, determination, pressure, concentration, commitment, goal setting, and motivation. And some of that stuff you already said about, sports is important and things like that. Coach, what's your contact information? Like, give us I know your website, right? But as listeners listening, tell everybody what your website is, or your Twitters, or however they can get a hold of you. How do they do that? Can you do that?
Yeah, we've got a Facebook and a Twitter, TackleBar, and our website is TackleBar.com, and we've really kind of been upgrading it just to put all the latest videos and all the instructional material on there. So we've got more and more information on there, and it's a great way to kind of look at the game and see it and kind of better understand it.
Perfect. Okay, Coach, with that being said, there's the whistle. We're going to go to the kickoff question. Now, I'm going to be the first one to say this, and we talked about this before on the phone. I have a funny feeling in the next 3 to 6 months from now, there's going to be a TackleBar league, right? You're probably laughing. I'm laughing at it because I know there's one coming, right? Because I want one to come in my neck of the woods. But for our listening audience, what is TackleBar? Can you please explain that to everybody?
Yes. Yep. TackleBar is a safer way, a safer approach to the game that still preserves the tradition and spirit of the sport, which is important because we want it to be football. Players wear traditional football equipment, but then they also wear around their waist a Velcroed harness that they Velcro on, and on their back there's 2 5-inch removable foam bars. And then what the defender does with the ball carrier is he tracks them. He has to break down and then engage them with his shoulder. So we're teaching a shoulder tackling technique. Then he wraps his arms around them and then rips one of the bars off, and that's what stops the play. Everyone stays on their feet. That's the key, kind of the key. And other than that, the game's the same. And what we found is by eliminating the big hits and the high-impact collisions, we're not seeing the injuries. Last year, out of 500 kids that played in league play, we had 3 injuries. We had a sprained wrist, a sprained ankle, and a bruised back. So
now, is this I'm sorry, Coach. Is that the youth team or is that a TackleBar league?
That's That's actually 4 or 5 TackleBar leagues.
Okay, so there's already TackleBar leagues.
Going.
My bad. So I made a mistake earlier that there'll be more. And let's do this. There'll be more than 4 or 5 TackleBar leagues shortly.
We don't have any in Illinois. We've got one in Mosinee, Wisconsin, and then a couple in Iowa, and then Minnesota, Alexandria, Cottage Grove. Yeah, we've got a number in Minnesota as well.
And the one thing, like I would say to the audience, is when I saw this thing, the kids still wear their helmets and shoulder pads. So,
yes.
And like we were talking about earlier, when my son's telling me to go grab his TackleBar, you don't understand, if you're not wearing a helmet when you go get it, there's going to be contact, right? But it's not bringing.
Yeah, and we want that, and we kind of call it safe contact. Safe contact, sound fundamentals. That's really what we're about. We're okay that the kids are knocking into each other, they're bumping. The offensive line in our game is 100%. These kids are out blocking and pushing. We don't lead with the head. The running backs don't. The linemen don't. And if someone were to tackle someone, they lose. They just kind of forget where they are and they throw them to the ground. That would be a 15-yard penalty. And last year in 8 games we had 3 penalties. So it doesn't happen very often.
Nice. And then to follow up with that, like, what can you go over the cost and things like that? And I saw you guys have shoulder pads now, correct? That you sell and things like that. Can you go over that stuff too?
Yeah, our costs we're basically $50 for the harness. But we do discount with bulk, so comes off that 50 pretty quick. And so you're probably looking at $42 a harness. And I would say yep, 2 bars, two foam bars. And I would say that every player really needs to have one, because you're switching so many positions at that time. Your guard is your second half quarterback, so we just want all the kids to have them. And then the shoulder pads, those are really kind of a lighter shoulder pads, which helps the kids be more athletic. Sometimes a hard plastic is fairly restrictive, so we've come up with almost like a lacrosse plus, and it's worked really well with some of the teams that have used them. But yeah, we have plenty of harnesses, so they can order them on our website. And people do. People just go on and order them, and that's great.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, Coach, with that being said, there's the whistle. Let's go to the first drive question. And this is one you probably hear it all the time, or you probably hardly ever hear it, right? Explain to the audience, because we all have this, everyone has this model, right? When we both played, right, we had, when we were little, we had tackle football, and then we had tackle football, and then we had tackle football, and then we got to high school, it was tackle football, and then we got to college, it was tackle football. Now, flag has been getting big, right? And I believe the flag numbers are up. Don't hold me to this, audience. But I think, Coach, you said earlier the tackle numbers are down. I kind of agree with that, even though I've never seen anything on that. But first drive question is, how is TackleBar different than flag? Does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah. We hear this. Yeah, we hear it. Isn't it the same as flag? We hear that a lot. Okay. TackleBar couldn't be more different. Our version of the game requires tackling technique and form, and just in that one point, flag football, you're lunging, reaching, diving for a wavy flag that's fluttering off the side of the running back, or they're twisting, or they're covering it. It's more like gym class. And I know there's a lot of people playing it, but I think you really get much more focus on form and technique with the TackleBar than you do with flag. And you also have a certain element of contact, and having the helmet and the shoulder pads keeps it safe. But you absolutely are making contact, so you're allowed to play the game more aggressively. If you play flag football too aggressive, you're going to get hurt. And there's actually an Iowa study that compared flag football to tackle football, and there were basically the same amount of injuries in both, including concussions, because the concussions come in pairs, and it's definitely an issue. But we're way different than flag.
And then, let me ask you a question. Like you said, the league that you have, up in Wisconsin, how many is that on a side? And is it indoor or outdoor? When is it played? If you don't mind going into that a little bit.
Yep, and this was last fall. So we had, I think we had 6 leagues, and they range from 3rd grade to 5th grade, where it just depended. Some were 3rd, some were 5th. All were outside. Some were 9-man, some were 11. So it was kind of a mix between the two. Our schools opted for 9-man because I think I told you the first year we only had 12 kids, so we wouldn't have been able to field an 11-man team. And really, again, the rules are all the same. I guess there's a few differences. We don't do kickoffs. We just put the ball in the 30, and we don't do punts, or we do punts, but there's no rush and there's no return. But you have to kick it. We snap it, kick it, and if you catch it, you get it there. Or if you let it roll, you get it where it stops rolling.
The ball hits the ground. What happens? Is it dead?
No, it wherever it stops rolling, you get it. So you're trying to get the kids.
If a player fumbles it, how does that work then?
It'd be a live ball.
A live ball, so they do pile on it. Okay, perfect. I was just curious about that stuff. All right, awesome. And then with that thing, the one thing I like how you said it, I coach my son's flag team, and we're about to start up soon with the 49ers. And, I love what we do at the Park District with, like, the rules and things, because they have certain different rules that where kids can't do certain things. Can the guys in this league, can they spin, jump, and all that other stuff? Or are they restricted where they're just running north and south and things like that?
Yeah, I would say the only restriction is not leading with your head. I coached a team last 2 years. And this last season we had a kid come in, and we were a junior high program too. So we had one junior high league, and then we had 2 third grade and 2 or 3 fifth grade leagues. But yeah, he would just crunch these kids. I was just like, stop! You can't do that. That's, and to kind of inform the refs that that's a rule. But we really want to take the head out of it. We don't. And it's as much for him as the other kids. But even the defensive linemen, we're getting away from a headbutt bull rush. And I would say that a lot of other leagues are looking at the punts, the kickoffs, the leading with your head, all trying to eliminate and regulate those. Just because these kids, I mean, I'm talking 8 and 9-year-olds, they need to be protected.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, Coach, with that being said, there's the whistle. We're going to go into halftime. While we're in halftime, we're going to hear a commercial break with my book, 3D Coaching, and the Go Army Edge app, USA Go Army Edge app. It's a great app. It's a free app. And also 3D Coaching, remember, if you use the coupon Unite All on my website, you get 10% off all the products. So, Coach, let's go into halftime. Let the marching band come out, and we'll come right back from the Coach Stone podcast, number 13.
What legacy will you leave as a coach? The three-dimensional coaching framework empowers coaches at every level to fulfill their transformational purpose by helping them become fundamentally sound, skilled at coaching the mind, and focused on developing the heart. Are you needing to take courses to meet professional development or recertification requirements? If so, check out the different online 3D coaching course offerings at 3dinstitute.com. You can even take the 3D coaching course for 3 graduate credits. Make sure to use the coupon code UNITEALL to save 10% on your entire cart. That's UNITEALL, no spaces, all one word, at 3dinstitute.com.
The Big Four, a physical education book written by Coach Anthony Stone, can be purchased through the following locations: Amazon, iTunes, BarnesandNoble.com, and Kobo.
Go Army Edge Football is a free game-changing app that allows coaches to draw their plays with X's and O's and then get mental reps from the first-person perspective or any position on the field with real-time 3D graphics or virtual reality. Go Army Edge Football comes preloaded with many example plays and drills for concepts such as formation recognition and RPO reads. Any coach in any system can benefit from demonstrating in Go Army Edge Football, and every player can become a better football player with extra reps in the app. Go visit them on Twitter or Facebook. Insert @GoArmyEdge.
Brunch, $30.
Hey, that's okay, Wendy. That was a good carry. You're still the man. You're the man.
Latte, $4.
Shake it off, Johnny. Rub some dirt on it.
New piano, $3,000.
All right, guys. They're not saying boo. They're saying movers.
Supporting your team. Priceless.
It's all right, Bobby. You still got the best arm in the neighborhood.
There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
This is decaf, right?
Back from halftime, Coach Stone podcast 13. Coach Healy and I we were trying to tackle each other, even though we're really far away, But he has 7, I have 5. At least we both got tackled, I think, there, Coach. Don't you think? I don't think we can get through.
Oh.
Got to play zone defense, as parents.
I've been overrun and sacked by my crew.
That's awesome. All right, perfect. I mean, Coach, you got to come back on one time. We just got to talk family. We don't even have to talk about TackleBar Football. So here we go. We're going to go with the kickoff return question. This is one thing when you're searching social media, right? Myself as a football coach, I'm always looking for that next thing, that edge for people and things like that. And the reason why I looked at the item was, with me coaching high school and doing camps around the country, I always think of how could we improve, form and fundamentals and things like, with me and my book coming out soon, Back to the Basics Football Manual. I was thinking, wow, look at this product, TackleBar. So the question for you, Coach, for the kick return question is, how many high schools and colleges do you know any that use them? Can you name drop them? They're going to use them for tackling and things like that, but they've talked to you more than me because you're the president and CEO. Can you explain to our audience, what do the high schools and colleges use them for, and if you can, share any names with that per se?
Yeah, we've had a great number of schools sign up even just recently. We had Lacrosse Boys and Girls Club, New Richmond, Sparta, Wisconsin. I'm talking to a couple other big leagues that are looking at it. Lakeville North, South. These are Minnesota, Irondale, Roseville, East Ridge. Really big programs. And we have championship. We have Eden Prairie. They're perennial Class 5 champ. They won it last year. Alexandria, Bemidji, kind of some of the big names. Again, these are Minnesota just because that's where I'm from.
Correct.
But then high schools, we probably have 10 or 20 across the country. We've got a group out in New Jersey that just signed up, another one in New Mexico, Washington, California. We just sent 65 out there just the other day. We're actually looking at getting a league started out in LA with the kids. We're actually working with Mike Williams from USC. He actually coaches high school football. He's a great guy.
Former NFL receiver, right? Former NFL.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got tremendous momentum. We're picking up a group every week. We're picking up one or two more groups. So it's very, very exciting. Now I will say it takes someone listening on the podcast and may say, hey, geez, this is kind of interesting, but it takes a few steps to get this done. You've got to talk to your board. You get them to agree to it, and sometimes you need to talk to a couple other schools to get them in. But I can tell you it's worth it. And even the high schools that use it, that's easy. You just order 25 of them and you go. Fox Valley Lutheran up in Wisconsin, they used it last year. We actually have a video of a news broadcast of them on our website. But they felt that they improved their tackling. They used this to form up and really, get the wrap and rip going. And they felt it's a small enough team that they can't be tackling their kids to the ground every practice. So you need to have some sort of alternative, and this device provides them with the read of a tackle, and it mimics the tackle as close as you can to not tackling the person. So really, really a great way. And we use it in camps this last summer too. We actually E.J. Henderson with the Minnesota Vikings, we hooked up with him and did like 4 different camps with him. And you can use it even we talked earlier, when you go full go, you kind of have to be careful, but we'd go half speed with these kids, or a quarter speed just to kind of show what a form tackle was. But we would do it without pads, but we'd go a lot slower, just to kind of get a feel for getting your arms around. But we did, and that was really successful last year.
Perfect. And then here's the other thing the audience needs to know. And when you asked me this question when we first started talking, there's different sizes, correct? Can you explain that to them?
Yeah, and real simply, 0 to 100 is going to be a small, so that's going to be your 3rd and 4th graders. And then your mediums go 100 to 200, so that's going to cover really 5th grade and above. And then if you're over 200, we've got a large, and that covers pretty much everyone above 200. Because when you get to high school, you're not going to have your 250-pound lineman wearing a harness. You're just going to have your specialty guys on offense. They're the only ones that are going to wear them. Another thing that's interesting too is Duluth. they're doing a 7-on-7 league this spring using them. So they're going helmets and shells, helmets and shoulder pads. And instead of doing touch, they're gonna make their defensive players wrap up and rip the bar. So they're gonna make them form up, break down, form up, wrap the ball carrier, and pull and grab one of the bars. So that'll be interesting. They're just getting started like this next week.
Are you going to go up there? Are you going to try to make the trip up there to watch that, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, you can definitely share footage, or if you want to send me an email of that news thing, I can add that into my podcast. So when people click on it, they can view that little thing you said with Fox Valley, so we can get some more traffic to your website and stuff like that, Coach. All right, Coach.
No, that'd be great. I appreciate it.
Oh, don't anytime. With that being said, there's the whistle. We're going to have a commercial break from Huddle. Once the Huddle commercial is done, Coach, we're going to come back, and then we're going to do the second drive question.
Huddle is a leading software company revolutionizing the way coaches and athletes prepare for and stay ahead of the competition. Go to @HuddleFootball on Twitter or go to www.huddle.com/football for more information. That's HUDL.com/football.
Okay, we're back from the commercial break. Coach, I'm not used to these commercial breaks. When I first started this, we had 2 listeners, me and Ricky, because we were the only ones on. And now it's changed. It's changed a lot more. Don't ask me why. I don't know if people. I saw your picture, Coach. We both have TV faces. You know what I mean? Because you can't have 7 kids and 5 kids. There's no way you can have 12 kids with 2 with 2 different ladies unless you got the looks going, right? So let's do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Second drive question. Now I want the audience to know this, and I think you already said it earlier. TackleBar was founded in 2016. Okay. Since then, from this day, Coach, where is it heading? What's the endorsements like? Let's do some name dropping, right? You already name dropped EJ, great guy, Henderson. I worked with him when I was with USA Football. But you talked about Minnesota Vikings, and I know there's some coaches associations. But why don't you do some name dropping right now with those things? And where do you think it's heading to the future of that? Go ahead. The floor is yours, Coach.
So first, the 2 real big endorsements that we've gotten, the Minnesota Vikings, they help sponsor Cottage Grove, one of our local leagues, and they've been real supportive, and so we're excited and proud to have that. And the other one is the Minnesota Football Coaches Association, and what's significant about that is that's the high school football coaches. I mean, they're the kind of the keepers of the game. And that meant a lot to get that endorsement. And I would say where we're headed, we really feel that there's really a progression with youth football. You have flag football, and there's a place for flag football. But then when the kids get a little bit older, then introduce them to TackleBar for 2 or 3 years. They can get used to the game. They can understand the game. They get used to the positions. They can get their footwork down, all in a safe environment. They're not going to get clocked. They're not going to get smashed. The quarterback can work on his footwork and not worried, because linemen really don't block at that age, and they're just always running and just being chased. But they can not be worried that they're going to get hurt. And then at some point move on to tackle when they're a little bit older, a little more ready to take a hit, ready to give a hit. So we really look at that progression, kind of like T-ball, coach pitch, kid pitch. You have flag football, tackle bar, tackle football. And we're kind of the transitional game between flag and tackle. So we look at the 3rd through 6th grade as kind of our sweet spot. And then high school, we feel we can really augment these teams in their practices. A lot of states are regulating how much contact these teams can have, so we can enhance their SUD program. It's kind of SUD plus. You got to show me the bar. A lot of times guys just reach out kind of lazy and they just 2-hand touch them and don't really do much of an effort. This forces them to get their hands to the back of the ball carrier, and that's a good position. Grab cloth. Yep. Grab
cloth and squeeze.
Yep.
That's what I always say to them. But hey, listen. Yep. If they're leaving, they're leaving, right? And you grab cloth and squeeze, they're leaving with you. You know what I'm saying? They're not leaving without you. No Olay tackle. There's no oops, backup tackle, things like that. Well, that's awesome. And then where were you you were just a couple days ago or weeks ago, you were at Ohio State.
Yeah, we're at Ohio State. Yeah, I've been on the road. I've been every weekend except Easter and the Super Bowl. I've been since mid-January. I've been at a coach's clinic, and we're at Ohio State.
Awesome.
The Buckeyes, and we're in the Woody Hayes Pavilion and Training Center, and it was great. And
that's awesome.
So many of the coaches, just a lot of interest, and going to these coaches clinics is just such a breath of fresh air. I mean, they're just really solid men that care about the game and care about the kids, and they really want what's best for them. And they're truly trying to do their best, and they're trying to be better. And I think even with your podcast and with the books you're coming out with, I think I'm very impressed with the youth and the high school coaches on how ready they are to continue learning.
Well, they are our future. That's the biggest thing that people have to, you understand that, other people understand that, moms want to do that too. But the biggest thing with youth and middle school, they're our future, right? I would love to see a football coach run for president of the United States. That would be awesome. Can you imagine that? Because debates would be they would get destroyed in debates. Nick Saban debating President Trump, that'd be awesome. No offense, we don't want Jim Harbaugh though, because then someone's going to be something's going to really bad happen then, or even Bobby Knight, right? Then chairs are flying, but using the basketball terminology, but that's awesome, Coach, and that's great, Coach. Let's stop with there because what's going to happen. There's the whistle, Coach. We're at the 2-minute warning. We're almost wrapping up. I wish we could talk longer. At this time, Coach, 2 minutes or whatever, however long you want to talk. Give a Wisdom Wednesday, I always say it, or a quote you want to leave the audience listening to Coach Stone Podcast 13, and then make sure you definitely tell them your email address, and you said you guys are on Twitter and things like that, so they can follow you and things like that. But the floor is yours, Coach. Yep. Go ahead.
I think as we look around the country, we see programs at the youth level and high school that are severely hampered with the participation numbers, and some are even closing down. And we had in our conference, we had 3 teams have to form 1 team, and there's no question that the injuries and concussions are what much more in the forefront of parents and children. And I've talked to kids who they're like, no, I'm not going to play football. I don't want to wreck my mind. And and we have an opportunity to change the narrative. We're coming in and we're saying we've got a different game. We're going to address those injuries and concussions. We're going to take the big hits and the high impact collisions. And I really feel like we're trying to save the game. We're really trying to get these kids back into football and then launch them to tackle. That's really our goal. So I would say take a look, have an open mind, TackleBar.com. If you want to reach out to me, it's tim@TackleBar. .com. And I'd love to talk to you. I talk every day. I talk football and talk to youth coaches and high school coaches. But I feel like we do have a product that can make a significant impact in the culture of football, and it's very, very exciting. And Coach, awesome. I thank you for all you do for the great sport of football, and thanks for having me on.
Oh, well, thank you again, and I appreciate that. Well, Coach, there it goes. There's the end of the game. I want to thank everyone listening to Coach Stone Podcast number 13. This was good. I want to thank Coach Tim Healy for TackleBar CEO and President for coming on. I want to thank JC Hawks Radio, JC Hawks Sports Network. BJ, thanks a lot. Remember, if you ever missed an episode, you can listen to them on iTunes under JC Hawks Radio. I'll leave you, the audience members, with this. Always remember, instilling confidence by laying a foundation. Thank you, and have a great day, everybody. Coach Stone Podcast 13. Have a good one. Bye.
Coach Stone Podcast.